Is drinking raw milk safe like RFK Jr. suggests? Can you reduce a glucose spike if you eat your food in quote unquote the right order? I'm registered dietitian Abby Sharp. I host a nutrition myth busting podcast called Bite Back with Abby Sharp. And those are just some of the questions I tackle with qualified experts on my show. There is so much food misinformation and disinformation out there, and it can feel impossible to know what's real and what's BS. On Bite Back, my goal is to help listeners create a pleasurable relationship with food, their body, and themselves, which in my opinion is the fundamental secret to good health. Listen to Bite Back wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you.
For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just go to getcopperhead.com. That's getcopperhead.com for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Getcopperhead.com.
Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
In true Canadian fashion, I feel as though I should apologize.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you.
For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just go to getcopperhead.com. That's getcopperhead.com for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Getcopperhead.com.
Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
For the song I chose to start the show today. But why should I apologize? I'm not the one that recorded that nonsense. Oh, my goodness gracious, what an assault on the senses. But it was by design, going back to that very Canadian characteristic of apologizing.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable pocket hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you.
For a limited time, you can get a free pocket pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just go to getcopperhead.com. That's getcopperhead.com for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Getcopperhead.com.
Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
This is the last show I will get to do with you before Canada Day next Tuesday. I'm going to take a couple of days off tomorrow, which is Friday, then the following Monday, because I don't know. Are you going to go back to work on Monday and then take the Canada Day holiday on Tuesday? So anyway, in light of that, we are going to play for you. We're making this the All Request Thursday show. We usually do requests on Fridays, but we thought, well, we'll do it. Actually, it came from a suggestion from Preston Paul yesterday. He phoned in and said, why don't you make it an All Request Thursday since it's like your Friday? And you should make them Canadian songs so that we can honor Canada Day. And so I thought, great idea. I mean, I rarely have good ideas myself. I will gladly take the great ideas from you. And so since I usually start the show with a notable song from this day in music history, I looked for a Canadian option. And wouldn't you know, that right there was the Canadian option. Celine Dion. It was on this day in 2008 that Total Guitar Magazine voted Celine Dion's rendition of You Shook Me All Night Long as the world's worst cover version ever. I wonder why. Anyway, a little bit of Canadian content to begin our show together today. You're welcome, Celine Dion. And remember, we are playing your requests on the show today. I mean, we don't get to play the full 3, 4, 7, 9, 12 minutes, whatever the length of the song is, but we will play a little bit of the song that you want to hear as long as you make a Canadian request. Please and thank you. That is all we ask on this All Request Thursday, headed into a long weekend. Every day when we start the show, phone lines are open so we can hear from you. And these same phone lines are the ones you can use to make your Canadian requests. 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. Mary, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Mike with a mic.
Good morning, Mary on a bike.
Yes, and you know what, Mike?
What?
You are never allowed to take a Thursday off.
Well, I'm not. I'm just taking...
No, I know.
What? Oh.
Take Friday. I don't care what you take. But
Okay.
Thursday is my Ugashaka.
He will be here today. You'll be amazed at what we're talking about.
Well, and I stand by you. But if you ever pull off being off of a Thursday, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Okay.
But now listen, just quickly. I
Yes.
believe you were talking about the heat yesterday. I did try to call in, but I was too late. Something about your wife. I think she likes it cooler than you. In the house.
Yeah, that would be a fair statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all I want to say to you, and we argue here over the thermostat, and I say, I'm too hot. Well, I'm cold. Well, you put a sweater on. Guess what, Mike? Women can only take off so many clothes, and then they're in the mood.
See, Mary, maybe we have an ulterior motive.
No, we don't.
But,
Yes, you do.
yes, we do.
That would be you.
That's exactly right, Mary.
Okay. You have a great day.
Thank you. You also. Setting the thermostat in your house is easy. You just set it wherever your better half wants it to be set.
It's the final countdown.
All right, let's get to that Farwell Show 5 countdown, or up for this Thursday morning, the 26th of June. Number 1, Iran's supreme leader warns the U.S. will pay a heavy price should it attack his country again. Earlier this week, Iran retaliated with a missile attack on a U.S. base in nearby Qatar, but no deaths were reported. Prime Minister Mark Carney has said There were Canadian troops also stationed at that base, but none were harmed. Number 2, Ontario's ombudsman says the province must address a, quote, growing crisis in correctional facilities amid a record number of complaints about jails and prisons last year. Many were related to overcrowding, frequent lockdowns, and inadequate health care, as well as inmates with mental health problems being placed in segregation and Indigenous inmates not having access to a liaison officer. Number 3 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, move over, Jamal Murray. You've got some company as a local player in the NBA.
With the 21st pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Will Riley from Kitchener, Canada, and the University of Illinois.
You know, I keep saying it was a surreal feeling. You know, it was amazing to be able to hear my name called. My family was proud of me. I got to hug my mom. It's what I've dreamed of as a kid.
Riley, who attended Grand River Collegiate in Kitchener, was traded to the Washington Wizards immediately after being drafted by Utah. I love that we're from Kitchener, Canada. And by the way, I learned just moments ago, how about this for a neat little tie-in to the Will Riley story? He is the grandnephew of former Kitchener Rangers head coach and general manager, Joe McDonnell. How about that? Joe Mac, the grand uncle of Will Riley. And of course, Joe McDonnell, as you'll remember if you're a Kitchener Rangers fan, took the Kitchener Rangers to the Memorial Cup in 1990, where we lost in double overtime to those Oshawa Generals. Will Riley, grandnephew of Joe Mack. Number 4 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, downtown Kitchener has become part of the Mississippi Blues Trail. A trail marker and plaque will be placed next to the statue of Mel Brown on Queen Street during this summer's Blues Festival. The Mississippi Blues Trail celebrates and preserves the history of blues music, and Kitchener becomes the first Canadian stop on the trail. And number 5, Retail Therapy Thrift Store is hosting Thrift in the Park on Sunday. There will be live music all day and a chance to have your gold and silver appraised. The event runs from 10:30 until 3:30 on Sunday, and all proceeds support the Domestic Violence Victims Alliance. It's at the Victoria Park Pavilion. I think I forgot to mention that part. Thrift in the Park at the Victoria Park Pavilion, Sunday from 10:30 until 3:30. And that is your Farwell Show 5 for this Thursday morning. We'll take a break. When we come back, your morning wake-up call. Waterloo, have you really done like everything that's been asked of you to stop that St. Paddy's Day party? Like everything? And I just want to make sure I've got this whole Call of Duty tournament straight. Do I have this straight that people come and watch people play video games? Is that what we're doing? Your wake-up call is on the way on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Request on your All Request Thursday here on the show. We're taking Canadian content only. And Paul from Preston. No, Preston Paul. They're two different people. Our buddy Preston Paul wanted to hear YYZ by Rush. And so he makes the request and we play it on this All Request Thursday Canadian edition. Look, I know that getting this huge Call of Duty World Championship is a big, hairy deal for Kitchener and the region more generally. It's going to be at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium this weekend. I'm not trying to whiz all over the enthusiasm that surrounds it, because it is a big, hairy deal that we are playing host to this tournament, right? I get that. And I want to celebrate that with you. But and I'm going to be the old guy again, because that's the only guy I know how to be. I struggle a little bit with this whole idea that we will fill a stadium for people to watch other people play a video game. And furthermore, that this is the kind of excellence that we want to celebrate today. Like, fill your boots. Whatever it is that you want to excel at, then please excel at it, I guess. But you know what Malcolm Gladwell used to say about the way to become really good at something, exceptionally good, right? The 10,000-hour rule. So how many hours do you think these young people have already been sitting in front of screens playing video games? Aren't we trying to get kids off of screens? And I feel like this is just another way of us admitting that the machines have completely taken over, right? They could spend these thousands and thousands of hours outdoors doing other things, talking to people in real life. I don't know. And this is a guy, I'm not a gamer. I loved my Pac-Man back in the day. I'll just remind you that sitting for too long, research tells us, can not only shrink our brains, but it can shorten our lives. There was a 20-year-old man in Sheffield, England, who died on his way to a job interview, suddenly just dropped dead. And what was learned after the fact is that he was an avid gamer, often spending up to 12 hours straight on his gaming system. And the night before he died, he was up late gaming. He felt a pounding in his chest. He ignored it. He went to sleep. And what ended up happening? Well, there was a pool of blood in his resting leg from all that time sitting and gaming. And the blood vessels got obstructed by the hours of uninterrupted sitting. And boom, something called, let me get the name of this for you here. Deep vein thrombosis. Boom. A pulmonary embolism was the result. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what the research says. I think it's great that we can host this esports tournament, but like, who's wagging the dog here? Is the machine in charge of us, or are we in charge of the machine? You game your little hearts out this weekend. I'm going to be outside somewhere. Speaking of outside somewhere, I got a kick out of some of the quotes that came out of Waterloo Council's meeting the other night when they were talking about St. Patrick's Day. And really, it was just a reflection on the year that was, the injunction that was put in place to try to break up the party. And of course, it was ultimately unsuccessful because the party went on, 20,000 revelers in the streets of Waterloo. And Councillor Diane Freeman, I just wanted to share this quote. Nothing against Councillor Freeman. For 20 years, she says, on this council, that's essentially what I've been told. Just do it. Just stop it. Just do this. Just do that. I feel that the city has literally done everything that's being asked of us. Are you sure, Councillor? I haven't seen any water cannons yet. I haven't seen the paddy wagons come on out and round up people by the dozens. Oh, yeah. And we also haven't moved Reading Week to the week of March 17th, which would have all the kids gone back home. We haven't done those things, but we can just say we've done everything that's been asked of us. I just think the water cannons would be funny. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. A little bit of Michael Pagliaro, Loving You Ain't Easy. Danny says it reminds him of the hot 70s summers and the CNE. By request on an all-request Thursday here on the show. Just ahead of our update from the 570 News Center, Paul from Preston is on the phone. Not to be confused with Preston Paul. Hello, Paul.
You don't want to whiz all over it? I will.
Okay.
How low have we sunk to actually think that watching somebody playing Call of Duty on online is a sport? That is some loser sitting in his mother's basement with absolutely nothing, no prospects in life other than sitting there playing video games.
Well, you can have a
we
hobby.
Are calling this a sport?
I think they've softened it to e-gaming now, but I hear you, Paul. I do.
They said e-sport.
Yeah.
I heard it.
I know. I'm trying.
That is not a sport.
I agree.
That is
it's not a sport.
I can picture this great big huge fat blob sitting there.
Be nice. Now listen.
Pushing
what is
on his video console.
What is the matter with you today?
I'm the hero.
Listen to you. Be nice, would you?
And people are stupid enough to watch people play this so-called esports.
Okay. Fat blobs and stupid people. I think, you know what, Paul, it's not even 9:30 yet. I've had my fill of that. I don't really understand it. I mean, I do understand it, but I do worry a little bit about it. I'm not certain that these are the kinds of tournaments that should have huge prize payouts attached to them and that we should be encouraging. How about we have the from your mom's basement to the half marathon tournament? How about that? Anyway, I'm just going to leave it there before I get myself in more trouble. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you.
For a limited time, you can get a free pocket pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just go to getcopperhead.com. That's getcopperhead.com for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Getcopperhead.com.
Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
Left your house this morning at 9:15.
Brian wanted to hear a quintessentially Canadian song, and that might be the quintessentially Canadian song, although I've always argued in favor of Wheat Kings. Same band, different song. Tragically Hip by request on your All Request Thursday here on the show, because it's Friday for me. I don't mean to rub it in. We learned in the last 36 hours or so that our regional government has reached an agreement with the developer of the Amazon distribution center in Cambridge to get some development charges repaid. I'm not really sure what the right language to use is, but perhaps our next guest can help out, because more than $10 million is coming back to the region that it says it was originally owed when that development was put in place. Michael Harris is the regional councillor who represents Kitchener that I just mentioned. He's also the chair of the region's Strategic Planning and Budget Committee. Michael, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mike.
Can we go back to the beginning of all of this? How did it come to pass that Broccolini, the developer here, was essentially undercharged in development charges?
Well, I guess it stems from an application for a building permit of a project in, Cambridge, I suppose, South End Kitchener, but it's Cambridge, that was initially assessed or submitted for under industrial use. So Regional Council in its DC development charge bylaw a few years ago put into place a discount for folks that wanted to come to the region and, build industrial type facilities that we know employ, good paying jobs. That was what we had put an incentive out there for. And, in this particular case, the developer proponent applied and was eventually assessed at industrial because that was the claimed use. However, once it came to light that we knew it was not going to be industrial, that it was actually a warehouse, warehousing is not deemed industrial, and therefore the region reassessed the proponent what the development charge should have been under that classification. So there's a delta there. But they had already paid, the development charge based on the industrial use application for it. Then when we knew, they were reassessed, and of course, then we went to an appeal. We lost at the appeal, and regional council. Thankfully, we weren't going to just lay over on this one. That we fought tooth and nail, and now we have a resolution where we're, I believe, almost 76% of the original DC charge that have now been recovered. So it's good for taxpayers, and I'm glad we followed it through. Because they should pay their fair share.
I remember, Michael, when this story first came to light, and there was a great deal of concern that there was some junior employee at the region that maybe made an error here. By what I'm hearing, perhaps the application itself was filed differently than it should have been?
Yeah, there's, it was COVID time, so that takes into play. I don't know the intricacies of all the details of how it was, but at the end of the day, the proponent paid an industrial rate. Now, they likely would have known that what they were building eventually wasn't going to be industrial use. Now, I will say, after some investigation, I've learned that other municipalities along the 401 corridor have exemptions, or not exemptions, rather, discounts that includes industrial, but actually adds warehousing as part of their industrial use. So it is somewhat complicated here. Our region doesn't classify warehousing as industrial. Some other municipalities, in fact, do. And so, they paid an industrial rate, even though at the end of the day, we all know it's not industrial. And you know what? It was significant enough that regional council supported continuing this fight, I would say. And we're here today to obviously advise taxpayers that, we fought for them and we got, almost 76% of the money back that we should have been paid in the first place. Satisfied with that amount, Michael? Yeah, I mean, look, I would have loved 100, but I mean, we know that there would have been another costly, perhaps legal battle, and just the way the rules are written. It's there's obviously a provincial play here too, in terms of, once you're assessed a development charge, there's some sort of technicality that if you can't be reassessed or given another invoice if the first one's been paid. So there's a bit of a loophole there as well. That we had to go through, and that's why ultimately we lost that first appeal. We were going to go back forward and try this again, but we've now come to this resolution. So, yeah, I would say, hey, would I like 100%? Absolutely, but I can tell you 76 is better than what we had before. So we've recovered those dollars that we'll now reinvest into the critical infrastructure that we need, because we know development has to pay for the infrastructure that we have to allow for that new development. You kind of read my mind on that last statement, because I was wondering, with this more than $10 million now that's recovered in this settlement, where that money gets directed. Exactly, those areas. I mean, we've got capital programs, and we'll be into that here in the next few months as we roll out our next fiscal budget for the region. But those capital dollars are key to make necessary investments in the infrastructure that we need. And sometimes you don't always see it above ground. It's the pipes under the ground. It's the water, sewage capacity. These are all critical pieces of infrastructure that cost tens of millions of dollars. And we need to be investing in that. And a lot of those funds come from projects like this to pay for that development. So I would say it's a good day for taxpayers. We weren't going to, again, lay over and just take it. We fought, and I'm happy to say we've recovered some funds. And, we're going to move on. And I would say to you, going forward, I think we'll address that discount, that industrial discount, or provide greater clarity when we review that bylaw, perhaps in the coming months, or even, I guess, would be maybe next term of council. But that's something that we're going to have to address to provide ultimate clarity so that doesn't happen again. Appreciate the clarity on this issue, Michael. Thanks very much for joining the show. Take care, Mike. Have a great day. You too. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Michael Harris is a regional councillor who represents Kitchener, also the chair of the region's Strategic Planning and Budget Committee, and gives us a further explanation as to how all of this happened
at the site of the Amazon distribution center, the efforts, the lengths that the region went to recover this money and what they will be looking at moving forward. So just gives us a better understanding of the inner workings of development charges and how regional council applies them now, where that funding ultimately goes. Speaking of the region, it came up on yesterday's show almost in passing and led to a series of questions. I have answers to at least one of those questions around the new garbage bins that are going to be used in this community starting next March, and when you need to get your orders in so you're not given the default larger bin if you think you're going to get by with the smaller of those bins. And Regional Council last night decided which route it would choose to fill a now vacant seat on their council membership. I've got a strong opinion on this that says there should only be one route allowed here. There shouldn't be options. There should be just one. But I'll fill you in on the waste management update and the how to fill the council vacancy story as we continue on the Mike Farwell Show this morning. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Suzanne takes you down to her place near the river. You can hear the boats go by. You can spend the night beside her. And you know that she's half crazy, but that's why you wanna be there. And she feeds you tea and oranges that come all the way from China. And just when you mean to tell her,
I don't know if my passport gets taken away for this, but I'm not the biggest Leonard Cohen fan. However, I get it. And Verity wanted to hear Suzanne by Leonard Cohen on this All Request Thursday here on the show. As I'm headed into a long weekend, I will not be back until after Canada Day. So we are celebrating Canadian music with our requests on the show today. More than happy to play a little bit of a song you want to hear as well. Want to also take this opportunity to update you on some information from our regional government. We just had Councillor Michael Harris on to explain to us what went wrong with the undercharged development charges on that Amazon distribution center and how the region recovered overall about 76% of the money that it was owed. On the show yesterday, it also came up that we are, as you probably know, changing the way that garbage gets collected next spring, March of 2026. We will have new carts to put out to the curb that will be picked up robotically. The arm comes off the truck. They're saving on the potential injuries for collectors, et cetera. Anyway, we're going to get these new bins. And according to the region's own information, residents will have the option to choose the smaller size in June and July. And this being almost July, I thought, boy, I should let you know about this. If you haven't yet made that selection, you're about halfway through the time window to make the selection. So there's going to be a bigger bin and a slightly less big bin. And you're going to get the biggest bin by default if you don't make your selection. So how do you go about making your selection? I went and investigated that after the show yesterday, only to find out that they are finalizing the cart selection process and will have more information available in the near future. So I pushed a little harder on that, and stop me if you've heard this one before. A government project has encountered unexpected delays. So the launch of that cart selection tool is expected soon. However, they are going to extend the cart selection window. So you're going to have beyond the next month is essentially what I'm saying. I think it would be in the region's best interests to communicate this a little better. You don't even have to say there's been a delay in the process here. Just put out an update and say, hey, just remember, New garbage collection coming next spring. We want you to be ready. Your opportunity. Like, don't even refer back to the June, July original window. Just give us an update. Anyway, the updates will be made available through the region's website at regionofwaterloo.ca and the engagewr.ca site. As soon as we get more information from the region, we absolutely will share it with you, but not too urgent right now to make that cart selection. You can't even make it, even if you wanted to. So when that cart selection tool is ready, we'll make sure you know where to go to make the selection for the cart that suits your household the best. And I know I received emails yesterday from folks that say, these carts aren't going to work for us, period. But that ship, unfortunately, has already sailed. One of the other things that's happening at the region right now is the decision on how to go about filling a vacant seat. As you may recall, earlier this year, regional councillor for Kitchener, Carrie Williams, passed away. Her seat now declared officially vacant, and the region has to go about the business of filling that vacancy. And, of course, there are multiple options here, right? You can appoint the next runner-up. You can have an application process. You could hold a by-election. As I said a little earlier, I don't think there should be options here. The only choice should be a by-election. And I know I say that as somebody that wants to mind every nickel and every dime, but the cost should not be the barrier here. This is our democracy. We as citizens of this community deserve to exercise the right to vote. It's that simple. There should not be other options. And one of the previous candidates back in 2022 it has expressed interest, and this is nothing against her specifically, but it could be the sixth place finisher from 2022 ending up in the seat. I think we should have a vote and put the first place finisher into the seat. Anyway, Regional Council has decided to go about the process by appointment. So in the not too distant future, a call for applications will go out, and you too could be a regional councillor if the rest of Regional Council thinks you fit. Like, don't even get me started on how bizarre that sounds. The existing council will decide who best fits with their current makeup. Come on with your coming on. I should put in an application just to see how it goes. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Wanted to hear what he calls some underappreciated Canadian metal. And so he gets the Killer Dwarfs. Are You Ready? The name of the song. Haven't heard from the Killer Dwarfs in a long time. You know, if I hosted this show with my twin brother, that would be the name of the show. I don't have a twin brother either, but I'll just let you think about that for a moment as we approach 10 o'clock in our update in the 570 News Center. Want to give a quick shout out to the fine folks that operate and fundraise for the Essentials Fund annually. They have wrapped up their 2025 fundraising campaign. And since this fund started just a few years ago, it has provided more than $130,000 to more than 24 local community organizations. I just love the fact that they collect this money, ask or allow charities and nonprofits to apply for grants through it that are unattached, right? Because usually these granting processes have various criteria that must be met. And this is just a way to get around some of that and get money right onto the ground where it's needed. So kudos to the Essentials Fund for another successful year of fundraising. $130,000 now provided to more than 24 local community organization since 2022. Bravo. Has the city of Waterloo broken its trust with citizens? That's what some are saying following a decision at Monday's council meeting. We'll talk about it coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you.
For a limited time, you can get a free pocket pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just go to getcopperhead.com. That's getcopperhead.com for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Getcopperhead.com.
Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
An American myth. I take my life in my hands. Where the great plains begin, at the 100th meridian. At the 100th meridian, where the great plains begin.
No surprise at all when you ask for Canadian music requests. You get a heavy dose of the Tragically Hip. That's our second hip song already today. George from Cambridge wanted to hear At the 100th Meridian, and so he does, because it's an all-request Thursday, Canadian Music Edition, here on the show. A topic that we have covered at some length on the show, and I remain disappointed that the city of Waterloo couldn't find its way clear to create the community arts hub in the former St. Columba Church at Lincoln and Mayfield in Waterloo for a relatively short time. The plan when the city bought the property where the church still sits back in February was to spend the next 3 years getting its housing development for that corner in order, and while it was doing that, provide the space for artists in our community, creative types, which I think is an essential part of the fabric of our community. But council decided at its meeting this week to not move forward with that part of the plan. Wendy Ridgway lives in the Lincoln Heights neighborhood of Waterloo and joins us to talk about it. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks very much for making the time for the show and having this conversation with us, because I think it's important that our voices are heard around issues like this. And when you heard the final decision from Waterloo Council on Monday, what did you think?
Oh, we were so disappointed. There was a delegation there of at least 25 of us from Lincoln Heights and artists that had stayed until almost midnight for the vote, and it was unsuccessful in a 4-3 vote. They lost our trust. I had spoken and I had told them that even with the deferral motion that they had the week before, they had lost our trust and they weren't listening. We were disappointed. A lot of that has moved to anger in the community now, and frustrated at not being heard.
You mentioned that you didn't feel as though your voice was heard. What message had you been sending to Waterloo Council?
Oh, we had been sending the message. We had met at the... So first of all, they weren't being very transparent. So it was just by sheer coincidence and due diligence of a Lincoln Heights resident that a small group of us became aware of a revote on the Arts Hub that was to happen on June 16th. So we rallied and we had 80 signatures in a very short time urging council to vote for the 3-year lease and support the arts and to support Lincoln Heights residents in that initiative. And at that, it became obvious that they weren't listening, especially the mayor and one councillor in particular. In my mind, it was obvious at the June 16th meeting that their minds were made up and they would do what they needed to do to get that vote rescinded. Councillor Freeman called for a deferral, and it was even questioned by Councillor Vasic whether her call for deferral was in good faith. Deferrals are extremely rare, and to ask for a deferral on a motion that had already been a unanimous vote in favor of just 4 months prior, well, it seemed rather fishy. And staff were at the meeting that answered appropriate and positive answers. There was no money involved for renovations. That had already been set aside. And so that deferral motion was definitely not in good faith.
What would you and your neighbors in Lincoln Heights, Wendy, like to see happen on the site in the longer term?
Well, so let me be clear that the City of Waterloo Council has lost the trust of Lincoln Heights residents. And I'm not sure that can be rectified. Can they restore the trust during the housing debate? Well, that's up to council. There's municipal elections right around the corner. But I think I can speak for the neighborhood that what we would like to see now that we've moved to housing discussion is low-density housing, not medium, not high, but low is what the type of housing that would truly suit the neighborhood that's on the corner of 3 residential streets. This site is within the same block as Lincoln Heights Elementary School, which already has terrible traffic congestion. The lot, it will be so much worse for parents because they presently use the parking lot for drop-off and pick-up of children for school. And that will no longer be available. So, low-density housing would not drastically increase the traffic, which is crazy in itself with all of the developments that are yet to come as well. It would keep the children as safe as possible in that housing is in the same block as the school. Seniors need affordable housing. At the meeting on June 23rd, that was spoken to by a delegate earlier in the meeting, and the benefits of seniors and children are well documented. So think of the interactions and possibilities that the school could have if it was seniors that was in the housing. Council needs to think outside the box and not just slam up some typical housing like they've been doing. The research is old, and the news even last night reported that rental rates are going down. The housing crunch is now not so much by demand as it is by greedy developers and landlords, and council should do something about that to address that in Waterloo. They need to consider the type of housing for this area. What about several detached homes on that 1.04 acres? For young families that are desperately looking for a detached home, a small detached home to call their own. And in the end, I'd like to see this land fill the need of young families. It's a group that's being silently ignored. Couples that are both working hard can't afford a home, and Waterloo is not listening to that group in all the building that they are doing. Enough one-bedroom condos already. It's not what we need. And it's also what St. Columba dreamed of. I recall speaking with a warden from St. Columba Church long before all of this came into play. And the dream of the church when the city bought that land was a dream of detached homes for needy families.
Wendy, I'd love to just talk a little further, but I'm up against the clock. Could you hang on for a little while longer so we can continue this?
Sure.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Wendy Ridgway is a resident in the Lincoln Heights neighborhood of Waterloo. Council, as you know, voted this week, because we've talked about it on the show and through our newscasts, to not give a 3-year lease to an arts hub and instead, I guess, fast track or move forward with the plan for housing on that site. And Wendy and her neighbors have some questions and concerns around that, and we'll continue the conversation here on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
I'm not sure that can be rectified. Can they restore the trust during the housing debate? Well, that's up to council. There's municipal elections right around the corner. But I think I can speak for the neighborhood that what we would like to see now that we've moved to the housing discussion is low-density housing. Not medium, not high, but low is what the type of housing that would truly suit the neighborhood.
I wanna live with a cinnamon girl. I could be happy the rest of my life with a cinnamon girl.
Some Neil Young by request for Mark on this All Request Thursday here on the show. We are taking your Canadian music requests as we head into a long holiday weekend. That voice you just heard was Wendy Ridgway, who's with us on the phone, talking about Waterloo Council's decision on Monday to not grant a 3-year lease to create an arts hub at the former St. Columba Church at the corner of Lincoln and Mayfield in Waterloo. And Wendy, in that clip we just heard, you talked about that broken trust. How could Waterloo Council restore that trust with you and your neighbors?
By appropriate housing for... First of all, I would love for a remotion, to be brought forward by another councillor to return to the discussion. The arts community, they failed the arts community as well as Lincoln Heights residents. So if we can relook at that, they, as we left the meeting, they were talking about Councillor Freeman had suggested that they hire a consultant to fast-track the housing. Well, they're going to spend the same amount of money, if not more, using that consultant to fast-track housing rather than providing space for the arts and the Waterloo residents to be able to enjoy that art space. But when push comes to shove, low-density housing, they have to make it something that is appropriate for the area. It's a well-established residential area, so low density is the feeling of people in the community that's the only suitable housing. Single-family homes. Put some single-family homes on there for these young couples that desperately want a place to call their own, or seniors housing. If they were to build appropriate low-density seniors housing on the property, there's many seniors living in their homes that would consider transitioning into that space, and young families that would open up detached homes for them to have a space of their own.
We had a call on the show, I think it was yesterday, but earlier this week regardless, from somebody else in the Lincoln Heights neighborhood, Wendy, that talked about the creation of a city hall or a city council watchdog. Is there anything that you and your neighbors are planning in order to better monitor what's going on at City Hall?
Well, that's an interesting concept that I'm not aware of, but I love it because council proved that they don't listen. Debate is not proper debate when the minds are already made up ahead of a meeting, and I believe that was the case. So the vote had already been predetermined before delegates spoke. Council is not listening, so they do need a watchdog, for sure. Council got stuck on accessibility, and without a doubt, changes needed to be made to that property. The artist studio space in the basement would not be accessible, but Arts Build had made it very clear that if an artist needed studio space, they would provide that on the upper level. It was already accessible as used by the church congregants and budgeted to be improved upon, and monies had been set aside already. So there was no additional monies. Council was well aware of that. Staff had recommended this purchase, but they didn't listen, they didn't hear, they didn't want to. So it's the first time that I have attended council, and it was a very disturbing experience, actually. You know, you go as a delegate from getting your 10 minutes, which I had 6 minutes, actually. That's all that I required to get my point across, and then there were some questions. But then when the council's debate happens, you're not allowed to speak. So, like, an agenda item had been added that seemed rather suspicious, but we as residents and artists weren't allowed to speak any further. So it was frustrating, and I love the idea of a watchdog for council. I think that's needed for sure. You know, as far as the housing, when this first was started, our Ward 5 councillor had posted the report on our Facebook page, and long-term housing brought some anxiety, but because it was so close to a school, it's within 500 meters of Lincoln Heights Elementary School. But 12 units seemed reasonable, and that's what's in the report for current zoning. That was the report just in February, and to be honest, there was so much excitement about the building and the art space that we didn't look so much at the housing, and 12 units seemed fine. Then it said in that report that up to 30 units with public consultation and zoning changes. Well, now in the agenda packet that came out for their meetings, their recent meetings, of which we just coincidentally even found out about, they're talking about 25 stacked townhomes or 60 units, and there's been no public consultation whatsoever. So we're angry. They're not being transparent, and yes, they do need a watchdog. I support that idea completely.
Wendy, I appreciate you making time on the show this morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Enjoy your day. Bye now.
Bye.
Wendy Ridgway is a neighbor in the Lincoln Heights neighborhood where housing will eventually land on the 1+ acre site where St. Columba Church currently sits. Lincoln and Mayfield is the corner. What kind of housing and how much input will the neighbors have? That's the story that will continue to unfold in Waterloo. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
I got my first real 6-string, bought it at the 5 and dime, played it till my fingers bled, was the summer of 69, me and some guys from school had a band and we tried real hard, Jimmy quit and Jody got married, I should have known we never get far.
It is an all-request Thursday here on the show, and we're taking your Canadian song requests as we head into a long holiday weekend. If yours is not as long as mine, I don't mean to rub it in, but I will not be here tomorrow, so instead of an all-request Friday, you're getting an all-request Thursday because it feels like Friday to me. It is, though, indeed Thursday, and Mary called at the very beginning of the show saying, don't you dare remove your regular Thursday morning 10:30 feature. Mary, I would never do that to you. So Gary Chalk and Living Retired is coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Ooka chaka, ooka, ooka, ooka chaka, ooka, ooka, ooka chaka, ooka, ooka, ooka chaka, ooka, ooka. I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me. When you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright.
mornings at this time, that feeling is lighter, isn't it? Because we get to have a laugh with our good friend Gary Chalk. We're not laughing at him. We are definitely laughing with him because Gary is the author of the humor column called Living Retired. You can find it online, livingretired.press. While you're there, make sure you sign up to have that column delivered directly into your inbox. It's definitely worth it. And Gary joins us every Thursday morning to bring it to life on our show. Good morning, Gary.
Hey, good morning, Mike. With a mic. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you. Our good friend Mary on a bike called earlier, and she insisted I can never, ever take a Thursday off, Gary, because she doesn't know what she would do without you.
Oh, I'll tell you, Mary's the best, and I'm sure she represents every listener on your show.
All 45 of them.
Oh, okay. We're going up.
We are going up. I think we gained one this week.
Oh, that's good. You know, Mike, when you're living retired, you got lots of time in your hand. You know, it just seems to fly. You know, we chatted, last Thursday, 7 days ago? It feels like 3 hours ago.
You know what? I was thinking the same thing, Gary. How does this happen?
No. Hey, did you get the picture I sent of the pelican?
I did indeed, on the Grand River, no less.
Yeah, I'd heard about this. I have a friend. He hikes the Grand River many mornings a week with some friends, and he had mentioned there's a pelican. I thought, yeah, Paul, yeah, you're right. Well, Jan's hairdresser sent a photo today, and it's real. There's a flock, whatever you call these pelicans on the Grand River near the Brantford Golf and Country Club. 2 days ago, in my garage, I had a painted turtle. Don't know where that thing came from. You just may want to start calling me Jack Hanna because it's like the San Diego Zoo around here.
I love it. I love it. If only we could make it as entertaining. If I could be as good as Johnny Carson when he had Jack on the on the Tonight Show. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you and I'd have to have some hair for when that animal sat on his head.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, what are you doing to stay cool these days?
I'm lucky. I work in a climate-controlled studio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I work in the basement where it's nice and cool.
Smart.
The trouble is my desktop, across the bottom of the screen in the right-hand corner, is always a message about the weather. If I look at it today, it just says 20 Celsius, mostly cloudy. For the past 5 days, it had bright red letters that said extreme heat warning. And I'm thinking, when am I going to get out of the basement?
That's true. Not until the extreme heat warning ends, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Remember last week we were talking about residents throughout the Waterloo region and upset of decisions, etc., and some of their politicians of making the speed enforcement cameras, whatever. And I talked about the fact that I had discovered some silly laws, one of which was the one in Alaska where it's against the law to push a moose out of an airplane.
Yes.
And you said, how did it even get on the plane? And anyways, long story short, no sooner than that, and I came across another story about flying, and this one has to do with flying with a room with a view. Have you ever been into a restaurant that has a beautiful room with a view?
I mean, I've been in one of those revolving restaurants in a tower overlooking a city, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most memorable view of a restaurant for me. Years ago, Jan and I, we were in Orlando, Florida, dining at a restaurant called the Fireworks Factory, and I had to excuse myself to go to the bathroom. Now, right in there, a restaurant with a bathroom, and the place is called the Fireworks Factory. I'll just leave that aside. But anyways, when I was standing at the urinal, I suddenly discovered I was looking through a one-way window out over the bar and into the restaurant. And diners on the other side couldn't see me. At least I hope they couldn't.
Well, that's what I mean. Are you sure? I don't know if I would trust that, Gary.
I was already in the act. What could I do?
Oh, my goodness.
So now, don't make this up, the airlines have come up with their own cockamamie idea to have their own room with a view. And what it is a window beside the toilet in the airplane.
Come on now.
Yeah, now you can squeeze your Charmin as you look out over Copenhagen. Right? I mean, it's competitive, and it's British Airways. They didn't want to get caught with their pants down, so to speak. So they flushed out their idea, which was to allow passengers to drop their drawers at 30,000 feet and do their business sitting on a toilet while looking through a window down at, say, Scotland. Sort of gives you a whole new meaning, doesn't it, to tossing your caber. And in the end, people who like to look down at Scotland, now they can really look down at Scotland.
Amen to that, my friend.
You got it. Now, this feature on British Airways isn't available for all passengers. In fact, I don't know whether they've branded or not, but for the sake of my discussion, I'm calling it the preferred P plan for first-class passengers.
The preferred P plan. I like that. The triple P.
Yeah. So if you fly first class, you're in luck. If you're back in economy, you have to hold it, so to speak. Right? Now, first-class passengers can toss back their champagne, screaming, "Bottoms up!" And when the time comes for bottoms down, they traipse to the toilet, sit down, squint down through the clouds that say Greenland. Now, this hasn't gone over necessarily perfect with everyone. One woman, I don't make this up, she was flush with embarrassment. She got her knickers in a knot, and she expressed her dismay about this lack of window blinds in the toilet. And the flight attendant got it right. She said, "Ma'am, if someone is clinging to this aircraft at 30,000 feet, they've earned the view." Right?
I think that's fair. Yes.
Yeah, and that's it. So far, to my knowledge, there have been no complaints from passengers saying they honestly don't give a crap as they look down at, say, Cleveland. So what's next? Surely, as far as I can see it, living retired, windows in airplane bathrooms are just what I would call the tip of the toilet seat. What I think they're going to have is in-flight entertainment systems in the bathroom. So imagine you're flying, you just get up to the point you can take your seatbelt off, and on comes the captain. He says, "Hi, this is your captain speaking. On today's flight from London Heathrow to Toronto Pearson Airport, for our preferred P plan for first-class passengers, we're pleased to offer for your viewing pleasure while in our bathrooms the feature film Flushed Away, featuring Hugh Jackman and Kate Winslet." And then he would continue.
Of course.
For our passengers flying in economy, the best we can have you do is turn on your in-flight entertainment system on the seat in front of you and watch the movie A Room with a View starring Helena Bonham Carter. You can see where this is going.
Oh, I can see where this is going, Gary. I get a little nervous, though.
Well, Mike, this is the type of ingenuity we need these days. You know, a preferred P plan for first-class passengers. This ingenuity is right up there with a four-slice toaster that's got a propulsion system or feature that pops your bagel before it burns.
I love the four-slice toaster.
The point is, Mike, if you think a window in a 747 bathroom isn't a room with a view, you've got your head in the clouds.
I must have my head in the clouds. Gary Chalk joins us every Thursday morning with Living Retired. That's the humor column that he writes. He brings it to life on our show. And we'll take a break and come back with that experience that I'll bet you can relate to. Taking your grandchild to a theme park. What could possibly go wrong? Hilarity, I'm sure, will ensue as we continue Living Retired on the Mike Farwell Show this morning, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Good time to shine. Nights see journeys to unwind. News and all survival signs. Rerun movies taking all your time. And a million vacations is what you got in mind.
Mike wanted to hear some Max Webster on this All Request Thursday, and a million vacations. What could be more timely? As we continue our weekly conversation with Gary Chalk, who writes the humor column Living Retired, because, Gary, what better vacation could there possibly be than taking those grandbabies of yours to the theme park of their choice?
Well, you'll do it once.
I say that about swearing on the radio, too, Gary. Yeah.
Exactly. No. It's part of being a grandparent, right?
Yep.
You come to the conclusion, at least I have now, that theme parks are bad for baby boomers' health. Don't get me wrong. I'm like everybody else. Love visiting a theme park as much as anyone who gets a kick out of remortgaging their primary residence so they can afford to spend a day standing in long lines with gooey candy floss glued in their hair. That's what it's about.
Of course it is.
Exactly. Now be forewarned, before baby boomers should think twice that they're going to take their grandchildren to the theme park, because, well, it all goes back to there was a study. This study was conducted by intelligent people. scientists. And these intelligent scientists convinced less intelligent people, governments, to give the intelligent people hundreds of thousands of taxpayers' dollars to conduct tests on even less intelligent people, baby boomers, who are otherwise known as people waiting for cataract surgery and knee replacement surgery, hormone replacement surgery. Anyways, the researchers discovered that riding roller coasters with your grandchildren for baby boomers may lead to severe onset adult projectile vomiting.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. And in even some rare middle-aged men, they slipped into a state of deep unconsciousness when they were on these roller coasters. And when they awoke, their thinking was so altered that they enrolled for ballroom dancing lessons with their wife.
I've always wanted to do that.
No.
I don't. I know. Do I? Maybe I don't. Maybe it's like taking the kids to a theme park.
Well, I don't know. It's about the same probably. So if you're thinking about taking your grandchildren over the Canada Day weekend to a theme park, stop, ask your spouse to check your meds. Something must have gone wrong. Right? First of all, you got to get to the park, so you got to get your grandchildren into their car seats. And it's not like when I was growing up. These days, you have to be car seat certified, CSC. And basically, Mike, this means you have demonstrated that you can lift your toddler with their arms and legs flailing into the car seat, even though you're being kicked in the groin and you're swearing under your breath, trying to get it in that contraption.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Then you got to drive there. Yeah. Oh, boy, you talk about multitasking. You know, your kids are asking questions about Pokemon. Meanwhile, you're trying to text, "Oh my gosh," on your phone. There's a lot of multitasking going on. And finally, as you approach the theme park, and it's just as you're approaching it, maybe 6-7 miles out, you'll start to see large, colorful signs that say you're close. And this means you're not close. Right? Oh, my gosh. Eventually, you do get near the theme park, and that's where they have signs for parking. And they say, follow these signs. There's sort of a convenient redirection to another nearby county. And finally, you park your car. It's time to take everything you'll ever need for an 11-hour visit on a sweltering hot day to a theme park with you. There's the baby stroller, sun hats, sunscreen, an umbrella, raincoats, garbage bag for Dad in case it rains, a cooler of water and snacks, some wet naps to clean the candy floss from your kid's face and their hands and their hair and their belly button. And, of course, there's got to be enough over-the-counter medications to stock a Shoppers Drug Mart. I'm telling you. And now you're good to go.
You're good to go.
Good to go. You're at the park entrance. Of course, now you have to visit the park loans office to make sure you have sufficient funds for admission and refreshments. And the way I did it was I calculated, I multiplied the annual inflation rate of Brazil by 3, and I figured now I had enough money we could go in. First thing Jan said, "Gary, we should map out a route, and arrange for all the popular rides beforehand." So now these days make it easier. Theme parks are issuing tickets which allow you to bypass the 2-mile lineup. But forget this, though, because you and your spouse, if you aren't at the kiosk at the entry to the park at sunrise, can't get those things. Before you know it, it's time for the grandchildren's lunch. Well, you had a mistake there because you should avoid the long lineups and been at the concession plant eating your lunch at 9:15 in the morning. That's just how busy it is. And then something else we discovered, the most popular phrases children mutter at a theme park, they are, "Dad, I'm going to puke," and "Mom, I peed my pants." That's what they say. Most popular phrase between the grandparents is, "What were we thinking?"
What were you thinking, Gary?
Yeah, and of course, you know, when you, any time at a theme park, you have to visit an air-conditioned souvenir shop. And it's all theme park law that the only air conditioning is at a souvenir shop. And of course, to get to the souvenir shop, you got to go stand in line for 3 hours to take the roller coaster ride so you can get to the souvenir shop. Note to grandfathers: purchasing one of those silly theme park hats, you know, the ones with bright colored fur and floppy tassels, what it will do is ensure your grandchildren will never, ever, ever return to a theme park with you.
Well, maybe.
Mission accomplished.
Exactly. Mission accomplished. Buy the hat. That's the message I got today.
Well, I think what you should do is buy the hat, and when you pick up your grandchildren, you're wearing it then.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. As always, Mr. Chalk, great chatting with you. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
And enjoy Canada Day.
Will do. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye now.
Gary Chalk is the author of the humor column Living Retired. Check it out online, livingretired.press. And while you're there, you can sign up to have it delivered right into your inbox on a weekly basis, which fits right in. I mean, I manage my email as well. You know that. And because I can only have so many in there. But amongst all the memos from the boss and the other things I really don't care about, Living Retired gives me a little laugh, and I hope you enjoy it. Thursday mornings on the show at 10:30. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
In the early morning rain, with $1 in my hand, with an aching in my heart, in my pockets full of sand. I'm a long way from home, Lord, I miss my loved ones so. In the early morning rain, with no place to go.
I might just immerse myself in Canadiana for the next 5 days. After today, I'll come back next Wednesday, okay? July the 2nd, after Canada Day. So we're having an all-request Thursday instead of Friday because I'm not going to be here tomorrow. And in honor of the upcoming birthday of our nation, we're playing Canadian music. And I could listen to Gord Lightfoot all day long. Mary wanted to hear that on our all-request Thursday. As we continue on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
This is where today's topics turn into today's talking points. It's local and it's democratic radio at its finest. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio.
With those evolving threats worldwide, the threats to our own sovereignty are becoming more acute. With increasingly open Arctic waters and rapid advances in cyber and AI and quantum, with advanced missile capacities, we can no longer rely on our geography to protect us. As the global landscape shifts, the collective security created by the alliance remains the strongest and the most effective way of protecting Canadian sovereignty and protecting the security of Canadians. So together with our allies, we must ensure that NATO remains strong, unified, and ready to confront the threats not just of today, but of tomorrow.
The Mike Farwell Show continues
on 570 News Radio.
And that, of course, is Prime Minister Mark Carney in announcing yet another, I would say, increase to Canada's defense spending, because not too long ago it was getting up to that 2% and beyond, and now it's the 5% NATO commitment, or $150 billion from Canada. As though we talk as a nation about increasing our defense spending, there are companies operating right here in the region of Waterloo that may stand to benefit from that. One of them is Alchemy, and its CEO, Kanjan Desai, joins the show this morning. Kanjan, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Thanks very much for making the time. How does the work that you do at Alchemy have applications in Canadian defense or the military?
Absolutely. One of the things that the Russia-Ukrainian war has shown Canada and the rest and all of its NATO allies is really that anyone can now put a thermal camera on a cheap drone, put it up in the sky, and be able to see every vehicle, every soldier, not just where they are, but also where they have been for a decent period of time. And so it's rendered the battlefield quite transparent. So at Alchemy, we've actually been working with the Canadian Department of National Defense for about 4 years in developing a technology that can integrate with textiles, with vehicle paints, with spray paints, and so on, that can mask the heat signature of a soldier, a vehicle, a gun, and so on, so that it's difficult and unlikely to get picked up by these thermal cameras. And so that's the technology that we've developed here in Canada, and one of the big things we're looking forward to really with this news that you just covered here is the possibility of being able to bring this to full commercialization here in Canada with a Canadian-born technology, with the Canadian DND.
It sounds like, I mean, we were talking a lot about those stealth bombers that the U.S. just used in Iran, for example. By what it sounds like you're talking about, Kanjan, we're talking about stealth soldiers here.
Absolutely. I would say, though, what's changed is actually all stealth has disappeared in a lot of the war front on the Russia-Ukrainian side. The visual camouflage, the ghillie suits, the trade craft that soldiers used to use just is completely ineffective now. So in a manner, it's about returning the stealth capabilities that soldiers need to be able to operate sometimes behind enemy lines as well. And so it's about returning that stealth to soldiers and protecting those lives.
I know that you and your fellow founders are engineering grads from the University of Waterloo. How did all of this get started for you?
Yeah, we studied nanotechnology at the University of Waterloo and created this technology that could prevent frost from forming on a windshield. And as we were pivoting around with the technology, one of the nanoparticles that we were working with, we recognized had the ability to interact with the thermal infrared spectrum. And so this was in around 2016, 2017, but at the time, NATO, Canada, most of the Western militaries were really concerned about poorly armed terrorist organizations or militias, not highly sophisticated militaries. And so at the time, thermal infrared and camouflage wasn't really important to the Canadian government or for most of NATO. But it was really the change in the global landscape, especially on the Russia-Ukrainian front, that skyrocketed this as a top 3 priority for most NATO countries right now. And so that's how the anti-frost nanoparticle really for us turned into an application for thermal camouflage.
You mentioned earlier, Kanjan, the contracts that you have with, or the work that you're doing with the Department of National Defense. When you hear about these increases then in Canadian defense spending, how does Alchemy, do you believe, fit into that?
Well, we know that this technology has been tested by the Canadian DND already in the field, and it was outperforming all other alternatives. However, one of the issues that we were running into was really, on the Canadian side, we used to be really good at early stage innovation, but getting these technologies into late stage commercialization was always where there was a lack of capital within the DND. And so we actually were starting to pick up more momentum with our NATO allied countries than we were here in Canada. And so the fact that Canada is now not only just going to step up to the 2% target that it has committed to for a long time, but also go to this new 5% target that NATO has just announced, means that Canada will now have the resources it needs to foster homegrown innovation and bring it to full stage commercialization. So, we can take a Canadian-born technology and bring it to full readiness here in Canada, as opposed to start it here in Canada and then have to take it to full commercialization elsewhere.
It's a fascinating piece of technology and a great story. Kanjan, thank you very much for joining the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Kanjan Desai is the CEO and co-founder of Alchemy, a company based right here in the region of Waterloo, and probably not surprisingly, sprung from the loins of the University of Waterloo, where a group of engineering students who had studied nanotechnology got together to found the company back in 2013. Now, given a pivot along the way, realizing the impact they can have on the ground in the battlefield, and as Canada talks about ramping up its defense spending, it appears as though Alchemy is poised to be a part of that moving forward. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. could call that on-con, not just CanCon, straight from the streets of the limestone city of Kingston. That's Cassador and R.I.P. Me Down for Andrea. An all-request Thursday here on the program, a day ahead of time because we're headed into a long weekend and we're playing your Canadian favorites by request on the show today. We've been talking quite a bit about Phase 2 of light rail transit into Cambridge and some concerns that we may have with it. One such concern I identified was having eavesdropped on a Cambridge Council meeting not too long ago when there was a GRT update presented to Cambridge Council. And during that update, one of the staff people from the region's transportation division, I'm sorry I couldn't get his name, but he said that if upper levels of government were not interested in providing full funding for Phase 2 of light rail, the region would seek the tri-level partnership like we had for Phase 1. The municipality pays a third, the province pays a third, and the federal government pays a third. And that's the first time I had heard that option presented, but it was presented at a Cambridge Council meeting. And of course, you know, it's a $4.5 billion price tag for Phase 2 of light rail. And that means the one-third share for our municipality could be as much as $1.5 billion. Scott Hamilton, Ward 7 councillor in Cambridge, he would have heard that same message during that update a couple of months ago, and he joins us to talk about it. Scott, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How you doing today?
I'm all right, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing well, but I wish that every Friday before Canada Day was automatically a holiday.
I know.
That's what I'm wishing right now.
I feel kind of guilty because I've been talking about not being here tomorrow because I made it a Friday before Canada Day holiday. But yeah, we need to do this better, don't we?
Absolutely. I would have requested a song had I known, but I'll know for next year.
Okay, next year, exactly. Put a bookmark in it. So to the point that I made at the outset here, Scott, which is something that I heard that got me a little concerned about Phase 2. I know that you have since followed up on this. So where are you at when it comes to Phase 2 of light rail transit getting down to your city in Cambridge?
So I'm a huge advocate for it, Mike. I think Stage 2 ION, LRT to Cambridge, it offers the opportunity to basically transform part of our city for the better. And not just in terms of transportation, because the LRT in Kitchener and Waterloo, it's shown to have surpassed all expectations for ridership levels, for reducing greenhouse gas emissions, for pulling cars off the road. But the main point of the LRT that's frequently missed, and it's missed when people only think of the LRT as a train, the point of the LRT is that it is an unparalleled socioeconomic development machine. So when you put down those ION tracks, you're basically signaling to developers, to residents, to businesses, and to your own government that this form of transportation is here to stay. So billions in investments typically flow in. So it goes into community building, placemaking, housing, parks, schools. There's no other mechanism that we know of, I think, in our municipality that can create communities, 15-minute cities, walkable neighborhoods in a similar fashion to the LRT. So when we think of the LRT coming into Cambridge, we can't just think of a train. We have to think of one incredibly powerful mechanism to create the future of a city where we have all of those benefits, parks, schools, placemaking, community building. And we have proof, which is in Kitchener and Waterloo, and the tremendous changes for the benefit of residents that we've seen in our neighboring municipalities.
If we don't have the appetite from the federal and provincial governments to fund the project, $4.5 billion in its entirety, how the heck, Scott, are we going to pay $1.5 billion locally?
Well, I think this is something that the region is going to address when they bring the business case to council in August. And so I don't have a crystal ball, but that is one of the points of an op-ed that I wrote recently that was in the Record and on Cambridge Today, where it was being floated around that suddenly taxpayers are going to be on the hook for Stage 2 of the ION LRT. And so I remember a report, and it came out a couple years ago, it was in April of 2023 from the region, that said funding for Stage 2 would be sought 100% from the federal government and from the provincial government. So I went back, I found the report, and that's exactly what it says, and I reached out and I contacted the acting commissioner for transportation for the region, and he agreed. That is the case that we're going to be taking to council in August, that we are seeking 100% funding from the province and from the feds. And so that is going, hopefully, in the business case, should council approve it. I don't see why they wouldn't. And that is what I hope that the provincial government and the federal government would be on board with, because it's exactly these types of large-scale transformative infrastructure projects that both levels of government claim they're looking for right now, because we need the work, we need the industry, and above all, we need the economic and social transformation that projects like this bring to our cities.
So did your ears perk up when you heard otherwise in your council meeting a little while back?
They did. They did. But, I respect all my colleagues around the Horseshoe, and I'm all about digging in, finding what are the facts, what's on the printed record, reach out, talk to staff, and that was indeed what they confirmed was, when we bring this to Regional Council in August, that is what we're going to be bringing, is 100% of the funding will be sought from the province and the feds, just like it was for the LRTs in Mississauga and in Hamilton.
Something else that has recently reared its head, Scott, is the idea that should light rail not be deemed suitable, bus rapid transit would be an option. Is that the case?
You know what, it is, but what's odd is that it was being framed like bus rapid transit was something new. And again, if you go back and you read reports, we've been reading about bus rapid transit as one of 6 options for over 2 years. So bus rapid transit is not something new the region is proposing. It's been discussed for years now. And so there are 6 potential options that I think regional staff will bring for discussion. One is to simply do nothing, leave everything as it is. Another option is bus rapid transit. And then there are 4 other options for LRTs, differing routes, differing lengths, all involving Cambridge. So from my understanding, nothing has changed from years ago, where the preferred option is still the LRT. That's still going to, I think, lead the business case when we approach the federal and provincial governments for funding. And one thing that I think is crucial to note is that all of those tremendous transformative community building benefits that come with the rails of the LRT, you don't actually get that with bus rapid transit. You don't get the same level of community building, the same level of investment. And so bus rapid transit is primarily for transportation, but it lacks the incredible socioeconomic benefits that an LRT would provide. So we have to factor that into the BRT conversation as well. It's that even though I think the sticker cost of a BRT would be less, the return on that investment is substantially less. And that's something I think we have to factor in, Mike. And you mentioned the $4.5 billion number. And that is true, but the $4.5 billion number for the LRT is actually taking into consideration inflation over the next 10 years when the project ends. So the sticker price for the LRT today, I think it's about $2.72 billion, which is still a lot, but quite a lot less. So one thing I do whenever I look at the sticker of anything I'm buying, like a car, the sticker price of anything, what's the return on this investment? So the return on investment for the ION has been incredible in Kitchener-Waterloo. I think the assessment value growth in 2011 was about $10 billion. 2023, that had doubled to $20 billion. And so the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce estimates that we would gain about $5 to $10 billion just along Hespeler Road in Cambridge alone. So even though that 2.72 seems like a lot, if you look at what you get for it, it's incredible. The investment would be, again, unparalleled. So it's something I think that as a city, as a community, we should fight for, because economically, socially, it just opens a window into a tremendously bright future that I think all of our residents could get behind, and we would all benefit from it together.
I hope we get there, literally. And I appreciate you, as always, Scott, making time for the show. Thanks for this.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. You have a great Canada Day.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Scott Hamilton, Ward 7 councillor in Cambridge, building his case for why he supports Phase 2 of light rail. Very interesting when that report comes back to Regional Council in November and outlines the business case for all of us to see. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
And Rogers TV.
It is that time of the day and the week for us to have a little fun on the flip side. And I have a very simple question for you today. What movie can you watch over and over and over again? Let's talk the flicks we just can't get enough of. On the flip side, coming up, the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and You know how a song can set a mood, tell a story? Dang, does Alana Miles ever do it with that one. Black Velvet, by request for Ron, on this all-request Thursday on our show, because I'm headed into a long Canada Day weekend, so we're playing our Canadian favorites as well. Excellent choice there by Ron. It is Thursday. We're adding requests because it's like a Friday for me, but every Thursday at this time, 11:30, we have a little fun on the show, something we call the flip side, and I will not tell a lie. I stole this idea straight from the pages of the Kitchener Public Library. I happened to come across this on social media last week, and it just began last night. Don't worry, there's still time for you to take advantage of it if you so choose. But the KPL at the main branch on Queen Street, where they have an auditorium downstairs with a decent-sized screen, plenty of seating to enjoy a movie night. And every Wednesday for 9 consecutive Wednesdays, because there are 9 innings in a game of baseball, the KPL is running its There's No Crying in Baseball series. So 9 straight Wednesdays of baseball movies that began last night with Field of Dreams. Speaking of There's No Crying in Baseball, yes, A League of Their Own will be part of the lineup. The Sandlot, Bull Durham, the Bad News Bears, it goes on and on. And when I saw that, I thought, pretty cool idea from the KPL. So kudos to you folks over there at the Kitchener Public Library and this movie series. But it struck me that Field of Dreams, The Natural, 8 Men Out, Bull Durham are all movies that I watch every summer. It's just part of I love movies. I keep going back to the same ones over and over again. So inspired by the KPL's movie series, I thought I would ask you today what movie it is that you can watch again and again and again. Doesn't have to be a baseball movie. Just pick the movie that you watch over and over again, and we'll have some fun remembering those flicks and seeing if we like them too here on the flip side this morning. 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. Rob sends an email to Mike at 570news.com. The Rob of political R&D. Wednesday mornings at 11:30, Rob Deutschman. Any of the Bourne movies, same. My Cousin Vinny, same. Die Hard at Christmas, Rob adds. I don't know about the Christmas part, but it's a great movie. Let's go to the phones. Robbie English, good morning.
Good day, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Happy birthday at the weekend, Canada. I'm going to be quick. I'm going to leave you with 3. I'm going to go seasonal, kind of. I'm going to go Halloween. The best horror movie that I can watch over and over again is Sleepaway Camp.
Okay.
Absolute classic. Everyone always goes with Friday the 13th, but Sleepaway Camp rules. General, any time of the year movie, Breakfast Club. Anything John Hughes is absolutely...
Does Barry Manilow know you raided his wardrobe?
Fair play. I'll take that one.
Okay.
Okay. And then on a Canadian note, Christmas movie, Just Friends, Ryan Reynolds.
I don't think
probably one of the greatest Christmas movies ever.
All right, Just Friends. I don't think I know that one. I'll have to find it.
Check it out. It's hilarious. It's one of his best movies.
Will do. Thanks, Robbie.
Thanks. Take
All right,
care.
You bet. You too. You know what? Breakfast Club was one of those movies I watched again and again and again as a kid. Obviously, I can still quote it. Who'd your mom marry? Mr. Rogers? Anyway, but I don't go back to it often anymore. Maybe I should. George, good morning.
Good morning. Mike, one movie I love to watch, I can watch over and over again, is A Bridge Too Far. Have you ever heard of it?
I have not.
Oh, it's a classic, A Bridge Too Far. And being one that lives in Cambridge, Mike, I feel like I live it every day.
Who's in A Bridge Too Far, George?
It's a classic. I can't remember the actors, because I think it goes back to the 50s.
Okay.
And they're trying to build this bridge during World War II. And classic movie. It's just way too wide of a valley to build this bridge. And I feel it's our problem in Cambridge with the LRT and everything. I feel that way every day living in Cambridge. That the LRT, if it's going to come, that river crossing is going to be the toughest and most expensive part to cross.
I get it, George. Appreciate the call. You know what they say about art imitating life. My quick Google brings up a 1977 version of A Bridge Too Far. Sean Connery, Michael Caine, Anthony Hopkins, Robert Redford, James Caan. Yo, that's some kind of cast there. Lisa, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Mike?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. I actually have a lot of movies that I can watch. If I love a movie or a book, I go back to them every once in a while. But two of the ones that I'd say would be my top ones would be Aliens, the second one, but not just the regular one. There's an extended edition that's really hard to find on TV. You pretty much have to buy it on DVD if you want to see the extended edition. It's got a lot more little bits and pieces that were cut out of the one that made it to the theater, but you get a little bit more in depth on some of the guns and some of the relationships between the people. And then the other one would be The Abyss.
Oh, wow.
With,
yeah.
Ed Harris and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, I think is
You nailed it.
name.
You nailed it.
One that I can watch, and they're both long movies, so you have to have the time to do it. But if you have them on DVD, it's a lot easier than on the regular TV stations. The commercial breaks now are pretty much as long as what you see of the movie, and so it takes 4 hours to watch a 2-hour movie now. So. Anyway, Mike, have a good long weekend. Stay safe.
Thanks, Lisa. You enjoy too. I love me some Ed Harris. I really do. That's interesting. I thought it was a movie guy. I've never seen any of the Alien franchise. It just was never my real cup of tea. I know I should go back and watch. I hear so many great things, but no, not really my cup of tea. And The Abyss I have seen, but not repeatedly. Phil, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Hello, Philip.
Just had to come flying back in the house here. We got a thunderstorm rolling through town and went over next door to take the neighbor's clothes off the line.
Oh, what a nice guy you are. Oh, yeah, I see some rain out my window now, so the thunderstorm down Stratford way. Thanks for that eyewitness weather.
Yeah, you got I put your name on it. Okay, movie.
Yeah.
2000 and Clint Eastwood.
Whoops, you cut out there. You cut out there, sorry.
2008, Clint Eastwood, Gran Torino.
Yeah, Get Off My Lawn.
Yes.
That's a great one.
Yep, and it's on AMC all the time.
All the time, just like my cousin Vinny was again last night.
Okay.
And The Shawshank Redemption was on yesterday, yeah.
Yes. And that Bridge Too Far movie?
Yep.
I think that's quasi based on a true story.
I will have to look it up. It looks great. Gene Hackman's in it, too, as I look at the cast online. So there you go.
Right.
Yep. All right, Phil.
Wear some sunscreen.
I will, thank you. In the rain, I will wear my sunscreen. Gran Torino, I loved. You can't quote any of that on the radio. It's very politically incorrect, except Get Off My Lawn. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
What movie can you watch?
Mike.
Okay.
I could watch forever.
Okay.
Planes, Trains, Automobiles, John Candy, Steve Martin.
So good. Del Griffith, shower ring salesperson.
It is so funny. I laugh every time. It's probably the best movie, one of the best movies ever.
Those aren't two pillows.
Exactly, Mike.
Thanks, Mark. Good to hear from you.
Okay, Mike.
Take care, bud. That is an excellent one. I used to like to watch it around Thanksgiving time because I like to celebrate the American Thanksgiving because they know how to do Thanksgiving right, turning it into a 4-day weekend. That is a great movie, though. Oh, gosh, John Candy. Can't get enough of them. Al, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
What movie?
You can't handle the truth.
Oh, so A Few Good Men, you say, Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise.
Oh, yes.
Did you know, Al, that line was not even in the script?
I did not.
They ad-libbed it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, exactly. With talented actors like that on the screen, why not? That's an excellent choice.
And the other franchise is the Home Alone franchise.
The Home Alone franchise?
Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2.
Really? You can watch those again and again, eh?
Oh, yes.
All right.
Slapstick humor.
Okay, fair enough. I can get behind that. Good stuff. Thanks, Al.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, enjoy your day. Good to hear from you today. Annette, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Mike.
What movie can you watch over and over again, Annette?
The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, my gosh. We're off to see the wizard. I'll get you, my pretty.
Yeah, my mom took me to see it, and of course it was really scary.
It was. Those monkeys scared the bejeepers out of me when I was a kid, Annette.
Yeah.
I loved the Cowardly Lion, though.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for that.
Okay.
All
talk
right.
to you later. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for making the call, Annette. If I only had a brain. Ron, good morning.
Good morning. So you're looking for movie recommendations or movies?
The movie that you can watch over and over and over again. You'll never get
What
sick
if
of
I
it.
have three of them? Can I give you the top three?
Absolutely, you can.
Okay. First one's going to be In the Heat of the Night with Sidney Poitier.
Excellent
Love that
choice.
movie.
Yes, sir.
Second would be 12 Angry Men, the
Ooh.
original.
Yeah.
Not the colored version. And last but not least, Peter Freakin's To Live and Die in L.A.
Oh, my gosh. That is rather eclectic choices, Ron.
I like all types of movies. I like a movie that's going to entertain me, make me think, or even just, sit down and just, intrigue me.
Yeah. Love it. Great choices. Appreciate the call.
No problem. Bye.
Good. Take care. Good to hear from you on the show. It's The Flip Side. We do this every Thursday morning at 11:30. Have a little bit of fun. Get away from the heavy stuff. And today, in honor of the KPL's summer movie series of 9 straight baseball flicks, every Wednesday starting last night, 9 innings in a baseball game, 9 weeks of baseball movies at the KPL main branch on Wednesday nights. And I looked at the list. I thought, well, those are movies I watch over and over and over again. So doesn't have to be a baseball movie. It could be. Or whatever movie it is that you just don't get sick of and you keep watching. We'll take more calls after this on The Flip Side. It's the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
She says her love for me could never die, but that'd change if she ever found out about you and I.
Oh, Bryan Adams, you naughty, naughty boy. Singing about that affair. Run to you by request from Jim on this all-request Canadian edition Thursday Mike Farwell Show program. On the flip side today, the question is a simple one. What movie can you watch over and over and over again? A couple of Marks on the line. Let's start with this Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hi, I hope it's me.
It is you, sir.
Okay, to get back to the bridge on the River Kwai, you have to watch the 1957 version first.
So the movie that was brought up was A Bridge Too Far.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say A Bridge on the River Kwai.
Yeah, that's the one that he was talking about. It's 1957.
Okay. I've always wanted to watch it, Mark, but I never have.
And it's really good, and it's based on a true story.
Okay. I will. You know what? I'm going to do that. Maybe even this long weekend.
Okay, and just so you know, I'm a one-and-done movie person. If I see a movie once, I don't want to watch it again.
Shut the front door. How do you live?
I've watched almost every movie you can imagine.
Okay, so you just want to keep them coming brand new, eh?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks,
Okay.
Mark. Appreciate
Thanks,
you. Bye-bye. I like that. I want to watch it again. I already watched it. Mark N. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yes, that gentleman, Bridge on the River Kwai, it is a phenomenal movie. But my two favorites, are probably dating myself, is Citizen Kane, and number one is Casablanca.
Oh, Bogey.
Yeah,
Love
Bogey, I could watch him in any movie.
Yeah, I can understand. I should spend more time with the classics. They don't make them like that anymore, do they?
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They're just incredible.
Great stuff, Mark. Thanks for the call today.
Okay.
Good to hear from you. We're asking you what movie you can watch again and again. Ernie, good morning.
Hey, Mike, I'm just catching up now, so I don't know if these have been mentioned yet, but, Mike, you know what? I'll give you an offer you can't refuse. You know?
The Godfather.
So,
Maybe one day you can do me a favor.
Favor,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's one of them for sure. The other one, Mike, I don't know why. They carried my mom's groceries home one day. You know why they did it? They did it out of respect. Okay, give you another hint. Funny? Funny how? Funny.
Wait.
I make you laugh?
Oh, my gosh, that's right, because that was the beginning narration in Goodfellas. Yes. Okay.
So those two, man, if they're on, I'll normally watch like 15, 20 minutes. Even if I have something to do, they catch you there. And you know what? For a comedy laugh, I love Step Brothers. I don't know why, but that movie I think that's just a classic. And I'm not a big Will Ferrell guy, but I love that movie.
Did we just become best friends?
That's exactly.
We'll have so much more room for activities, Ernie.
And everything. So,
I love it. All right. Thanks for the call, bud.
Have a good one.
You too. The Godfather was the first one we were quoting. Goodfellas, the second one. Step Brothers will always hold a special place in my heart because one year, many years ago, back when we still watched movies together on the bus, it was the season of Step Brothers with the Kitchener Rangers. We must have watched that movie 15 times that hockey season. And I admit, just like Ernie said, I got into it. Will Ferrell's kind of a guilty pleasure for me, but oh my goodness, did I ever get into that one. Really enjoyed it. Paul, good morning.
Second-hand Lion.
Oh, you've told me about this one before. Second-hand
You haven't
Lion.
watched it yet.
No, I haven't.
It's a really good family movie that, talks about morals, common sense, treating people properly. I don't know how you haven't watched it yet.
I will get to it. I promise I will. Second-hand Lion. I'll make a note. Brad, good morning.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Just celebrated its 50th anniversary. Can you believe it?
Could be, well, first of all, it changed the way that people operate and live around water.
Absolutely.
What's funny about it is I've probably watched it probably 100 times. There's only 4 people that get killed by the shark in the whole movie. That's it.
But it's the possibility that more might get killed that keeps you on the edge of your seat, right?
100%. And I'll give you one more.
Okay.
That maybe somebody had already mentioned. Wedding Crashers. I mean, probably on the same line as what a Step Brothers is, but Wedding Crashers and the stuff that they did in that movie 20 years ago, it's hard to believe that movie's not 20 years old, right?
It's crazy. Rule number, I can't remember the number, but no excuses, play like a champion.
Rule number 76.
76,
no
thank you, Brad.
Excuses, play like a champion. And one last one that an all-time favorite of mine is, and a bit of a cult favorite as well, from the 90s, Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh, I've heard of this one. I still have not watched it, but...
Mike, you got to watch it. Try watching the director's cut. It's an amazing movie.
Okay, I'll take it. Your first 2 are right there with me, so Glengarry Glen Ross it is. Thanks, Brad.
Take care.
Appreciate it. You too. We're going to need a bigger boat. That, of course, would be Jaws. And along with how it changed the way we operate around water, how about it changed the way we listen to music? Dun-dun. That's all I need to do, right? You know what's coming. Dun-dun, 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 dun. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, I won't do it anymore. Disservice. This is the flip side. On the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. We've been having some fun this morning talking about the movies that we can watch again and again and again. And we can continue this into the afternoon because the open line talkback hour is about to begin. So if you want to hang on, right after this update from the 570 News Center, we can continue talking about the movies we just can't stop watching and anything else. It's your hour coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio.
And whatever comes our way, yeah,
Rob wanted to hear some Steppenwolf. That, of course, Born to Be Wild. It's an all-request Thursday Canadian music edition here on the Mike Farwell Show. And we carry over from our previous segment the movies that we just can't get enough of. We watch them over and over and over again. Tim, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm staying dry where possible.
Good man, good man.
I'm calling because I heard a caller earlier refer to a movie called A Bridge Too Far.
Yes, sir.
This was a Robert Redford movie, American production, but quite frankly, I wanted your listeners to know that this was very much a Canadian issue, Canadian battle. It was the Canadians going through Belgium. The operation was called Operation Market Guard, and my father was part of it. I recently went to Europe on an extended trip to see my son in Switzerland, but I managed to go on business as well to The Hague and Amsterdam and Antwerp. From Antwerp, I got my father's records, and I retraced his military route, where he went. He used to blow up bridges and was parachuted behind enemy lines. And it was during that battle. And it was indeed a bridge too far. The movie itself, it's Hollywood, but it depicts that battle. It accentuates more the American and British experience. But quite frankly, the Canadians are the ones that gave up 7,000 lives and, really took that and freed the Netherlands. There's another movie called The Forgotten Battle that really depicts the Canadian part of those battles, and I urge your listeners to look at that on Netflix as well.
What a great story. Tim, thanks very much for sharing that.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I really love hearing that. What a connection to one of the movies that was mentioned earlier and following Dad's footsteps through Europe. Very cool. Greg, good afternoon.
Hey, Mike.
Hello, Greg.
I got kind of two answers. First, I'm going to say Annie Abbott and Costello. My parents loved them. They got me into it, and I could still, anytime that would come on, good to go. Doesn't have to be the Who's On First. They were just hilarious in general. But if we have to narrow it down to like a single movie, see if this rings a bell. Have you ever been to a Turkish prison, Joey?
Airplane. Have you seen a grown man naked?
Yeah. Do you like movies about gladiators?
Stop calling me Shirley.
Oh, yeah. And then, it's just on and on. I don't think, other than the sequel to that I don't think it made the same, but I don't see anybody else ever even tried sort of that humor.
There were a few of them. Like after Airplane, I remember Top Secret was in that same vein. Obviously, the Naked Gun series, also Leslie Nielsen, in that same vein, right? They did a few. Yeah.
I guess I didn't see them all, but yeah, no, that one there, especially if you, after 3 or 4 beers, it gets even funnier.
I'm sure it does.
Give it a try.
All right, Greg. I don't mind if I do, especially because I have a few days off coming up. Marianne, good afternoon.
Hello. I'm going to talk about some old movies that I like watching. One is, and I like watching it at Christmas time, and I don't know why, but The Sound of Music.
Of course. It's a great Christmas movie, even though it's not about Christmas.
Exactly. And another one is Orphan of Annie.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one I really like is Anne of Green Gables.
Oh, nice one. Good choice.
Yep. And my last one would be, and I don't know if it's really a movie or if it's just a series, but it's Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, yeah. Just a series, but come on. Fantastic stuff.
Those are ones that I love watching over and over. There are other movies that I like watching too, but those are my 4 or 5 favorite ones.
Thanks for sharing, Marianne.
You're welcome. Happy Canada Day weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's perfect to think of Little Orphan Annie on a day like today. The sun will come out tomorrow. You bet your bottom dollar. I'm not supposed to sing on the radio. Grant, good afternoon.
And why can't you sing?
I can't sing. Literally, yeah. I cannot sing.
I think you can.
Thank you. Can you do me a favor today?
Yeah.
Can you watch your language, please?
Oh, okay.
Okay, you were all fired up yesterday, weren't you, young fella?
Well, sometimes.
I know.
Get me.
Sometimes I get fired up too. Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, Erin Brockovich and the original first Star Wars movie. I like Erin because she didn't care who you were, what the company that she was dealing with. She just wanted to get down to the nitty gritty, right?
Yeah, it was a good story for sure.
And I don't know if you watched last week's America's Got Talent. They had a lady that did this in 3 stages, where she threw a football through hoops in 3 different stages. Maybe Pittsburgh should get her than Aaron Rodgers, right? Because he's kind of
old.
Or maybe,
yes, exactly.
Or maybe get Mick Jagger, because he's older, right?
Mick Jagger to be the quarterback. You know what? I'd prefer Mick Jagger to be the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point. I love how Grant goes from the movies that he watches again and again to America's Got Talent. Like, if you can connect those dots, you're a better connector than I am. But I've always said, when you open up the phone lines on a live radio show, you never know what you're going to get. Oh, yeah. And there's no safety net down below. So let's continue that high wire act, okay? It is the Talkback Hour. It's my last chance to have a conversation with you before I go away for Canada Day. Just going to get out of the station for a little bit. So let's enjoy the final 50 minutes together, shall we? Talkback continues on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. A band called Metric. Canadian music on this All Request Thursday. Song is called Gold, Guns, Girls by Request for Kyle. And in keeping with a theme of movies we could watch again and again and again, the lyrics to that song are inspired by the movie Scarface. First, you get the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power. And when you get the power, then you get the women, said Al Pacino in Scarface, or something along those lines. All right, back to the phones we go. Talkback continues. Andre, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike. Yeah, it's so funny because 2 of my best movies is, for sure, all the Walt Disney's movies. And 2, the movie that one of my favorite movie is Heat, Al Pacino.
Oh, there you go. And Val Kilmer was in that one, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you very much. Yes, he passed away in April this year, young before me, so he's making me feel old. But yeah, I really like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in that movie. Mike, I want to call also because of my song later, but with Rob Deutschman, I think he is supporting, right, the LRT to Cambridge.
Oh, probably.
Okay. So what I want to say about that is when I was living in Laurentian, we drive to Laval and we park ourselves there and we take the subway all day, whatever, you know what I mean? Like you can even sleep in it. It's safe. So it is very convenient. What I really like about what Rob said yesterday is that train track, that people got to stop hitting it because tracks don't move like you say. It's awesome because you get to stop pretty much where you need or see different things, at the same rate. So it is very convenient, especially for people who don't have a car. They can go live somewhere where the train track is, you know what I mean? So I think it's a fantastic idea and hopefully it comes sooner.
All right, Andre. I got to move on. I'm sorry, because Rob was talking about rent evictions yesterday. You might have been thinking of the conversation we had with Scott Hamilton this morning, the Cambridge councillor, who is supportive of Phase 2 light rail. I don't really love where it kind of goes right now. In terms, I don't know, you can get off and see. I guess if you're going uptown or downtown, you can see places along the current light rail transit line. But as a means of encouraging development, it is an almost unbeatable project to encourage development in the city. That's for sure. Mayor Jake, good afternoon.
Mike, how are you now?
I'm good. And you?
Not so bad. Yeah, I've noticed yesterday you said after my call that the city of Vaughan has signs that say the cameras are on at a specific time. What I think is funny is if Kitchener decides to do that, how much money are we spending on taking those signs down, replacing them, fixing the cameras? And I'm all for doing that. But, like, why the city and the region didn't think, hey, maybe we should take some more time instead of spending all this money on putting silly signs up, the cameras up, and just waiting to see what other municipalities do first before we act?
It's an excellent question, and you're not going to get an argument from me on the amount of money we have spent on all of those signs that are on our roadsides, for sure.
And I find it just really funny that we love to spend. And also, my 3 movies, Forrest Gump, the greatest underdog story of all time, Shawshank Redemption, and the movie Goon, good Canadian classic.
I like that last one. Well done, sir. Doug Glatt.
Doug Glatt. Doug the Thug.
Doug the Thug. I love it. And Jay Baruchel is awesome in it. Love it. Thanks, Mayor Jake.
Yeah, you too, buddy. Have a good one.
You too. Great to hear from you today. Preston, Paul, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike. How you doing?
I'm great, my friend. How are you?
All right. You got less than an hour to go, buddy. What are you going to do first?
Oh, buddy. How cold can the beer get? That's all I want to know. Just cold enough, I think.
I like it. Anyways, you had a great music selection again today. Everybody's come to the plate and put up some great songs. I forget half of them. Oh, yeah, I like that one, too. But you're talking about the movies. I could sit down and watch a blockbuster movie every day, and I still wouldn't get caught up. I haven't been to the theater in years, but ones I did like back in the day, you might remember, is The Longest Yard.
Oh, yeah.
And The Dirty Dozen.
Great choices. Absolutely. Lee Marvin in The Dirty Dozen and Burt Reynolds in The Longest Yard. Yeah.
You got her.
Good man.
You have a great long weekend, Mike.
Thank you, Preston Paul. Talk to you again soon, okay?
Got her.
Cheers, brother. We are continuing your Talk Back Hour. You make the call. You get to talk. We're just here to listen and enjoy the conversation with you on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
It's Bud the Spud from the bright red mud, rolling down a highway smiling. The Spuds are big on the back of Bud's rig. They're from Prince Edward Island. They're from Prince Edward Island. Now from Charlottetown or from Summerside, they load him down for the big long ride. He jumps in the cab and he's off with the pride so big
Bud the Spud, Summerside, you say. My late great friend Don Cameron hailed from the summer side of the island, as he liked to call it, and every time I hear Bud the Spud, I think of Don. Doug wanted to hear that on our All Request Thursday, Canadian edition, here on the show. So there you go. Back to the phones on Talkback. Jersey Bill, good afternoon.
Yeah, I tell you what, as far as a movie that I could watch over and over again, I hope I live so long that we can see all the movies that are going to be made from this glorious Trump era. I mean, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of nonfiction and even fictional. The fictional accounts might even be better, you know?
Yeah, no kidding. Kind of like Trainwreck that's on right now.
Yes. Tragic, comedic, tragic, comedic, and, hopefully not apocalyptic.
Good point.
Yes, I just wanted somebody. I think I think it was Kyle. He sort of misunderstood. I wasn't sort of predicting World War III. The last thing I would do. It's just that I feel that, and actually I'm sort of a little heartened from the fact that it looks as though situations being what they are, that and especially with the other nations sort of stepping up and saying we're going to pay more for our own defense, it looks as though Trump is taking that as a win, and he might start to moderate some of his more extreme and stupid positions. One can only hope. But I still think that Iran and Russia could really play games, and as I say, I don't think it really matters how much of Iran's capability we destroy it, as long as they can be backed up by Russia, who has the largest stockpile of nuclear weapons in the world. And Putin has already said we don't like what happened to Iran, and we're willing to make up the difference, and they can immediately, and also put put those resources in such places that the Western world wouldn't be able to get them unless we wanted a direct confrontation with Russia, which I think nobody really wants.
I couldn't agree more. I don't think anybody really wants that at all. And I think when you're talking about U.S. President Donald Trump right now, you have to talk about Nobel Peace Prize winning Donald Trump, right? What? No. Brenda, you're on Talkback.
Hello.
Hello.
The movies that I've always enjoyed watching over and over again is The Jury, A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise, Gene Hackman, and I also like Mississippi Burning. We watched that one in grade 12. We were taken about the southern states in the United States, how they treated their people, and
those are all courtroom dramas, though. Too. You must like the courtroom dramas.
Yes.
Were you a Perry Mason fan back in the day, Brenda?
Yeah, I don't know if I remember him.
Okay. I guess I'm just showing my age then, aren't I?
I don't exactly remember that one. But anyway, they all depicted what happened in the southern states, and I like Tom Cruise anyway, and Gene Hackman. So
okay.
Have a good weekend. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Brenda. You too. Great to hear from you today on Talkback. Hey, we're not yet done. We're only halfway through the hour that belongs to you. Be a part of the conversation by giving us a call on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio.
I've got a smile on my face and I've got four walls around me. I've got the sun in the sky, all the water surround me. Oh, you know, yeah, I win now, sometimes I lose. I've been battered, but I never bruise. It's not so bad. And I say, wait, hey, it's just an ordinary day. And it's all your state of mind.
Oh, my goodness. You're hitting me right in the feels today from Bud the Spud and Stompin' Tom, which makes me think of my late great friend Don Cameron, to Great Big Sea, which always makes me think of my late son. We used to sing Great Big Sea together. That's by request from Ernie. Ordinary day on this all request Thursday, as we play Canadian music heading into a long Canada Day weekend. I hope you're getting a long weekend sometime in the next little bit, too. Kyle, you're on Talkback. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm having a day, my friend. I wish I was having the day off like you tomorrow, because you know how sometimes you just wake up and you know you're going to have a bad day? That's what happened to me this morning. I found out that there was an unauthorized charge for my credit card. Luckily, I got it sorted out, but it's going to take now 3 to 10 business days to come in. Then I get pick up my mail, and I got a penalty, a speeding ticket on an automated enforcement camera, $83.25. So there's that, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just one of those days. And then, obviously I didn't know that it was Canadian content for music today. So yesterday I already had my song put in, and then today I had to change it because I would have been more prepared if I knew that it was Canadian content for music today.
It was a spur of the moment decision. My apologies for that.
Oh, don't be apologizing. I should just know my Canadian content better than my other stuff, so it just shows that, how much I lack in that stuff. But yeah, it's just one of those days there, Mike. But if
what speed camera got you, Kyle? Where?
Wellington. It said on Wellington Road 11.
Wellington County. Those are the $1 million speed cameras. Look out, buddy.
I know, 52 and a 40, and I owe somebody $15 for a victim component surcharge.
52 and a 40. Come on.
I know, but anyways, it's not bad. You know what, Mike? You know what? I just want to apologize, and I'll be quick. I'm sorry the other day I did not congratulate you. I read it on your social media that you raised so much money, and then it was in my head, but my ADD, kicked in, and I forgot.
Dude,
so I want to say congratulations for how much you raised, and you know what? Just to make my day better, the movie that I'm going to watch, because I can always go back to it. It's with Andy Samberg, Jorma Taccone, and Bill Hader. Is the movie Hot Rod. Hilarious movie. I know it's rated terrible on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's a funny movie, and I love it. And those guys from SNL, so that's what I'm going to go to. But Mike, thank you very much, my friend. I know you got lots of callers. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. You too. We raised $233,000, 334 actually, $233,334 for cystic fibrosis research. And that's just what makes me happy, that the research into cystic fibrosis is getting that kind of money. Thanks for your support of Farwell for Hire. Mike, you're on Talkback. Good afternoon.
Hello, Mike.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good, thank you.
You're talking about movies. The Revenant with DiCaprio, I think his name is.
Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio, The Covenant. No, not The Covenant. What was that
The
one?
Revenant, it's called.
The Revenant. Are you sure? I've never heard of such a thing. I'll take your word for it, though. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mike. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm sus, as the kids would say. Phil, good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you? It was The Revenant. My bad. Leonardo, look, he's right there on my screen. Okay, thank you. Mike's smarter than I am. He just couldn't remember DiCaprio's name.
I would like to start by, echoing one of your previous callers and congratulate you on your fundraiser. Next year, $250,000.
Shut up. Stop. Stop it.
Yeah, so movies. I'm a big fan of the historical cast of thousands movies, like Ten Commandments and Ben-Hur and Quo Vadis. But there are two movies in particular that are like a train wreck for me, and I can't look away. And that would be The Princess Bride.
Oh, so good.
Oh, I loved it. It was awesome. And the other one is Independence Day. I don't know why.
No, Phil, great point. I hear you.
They're like a train wreck. You can't turn away.
I refer to them as apocalyptic like end of the world doomsday porn.
Yeah.
I can't turn away either.
Well, and I mean, there's so many great movies out there, but like Forrest Gump is another one.
Sure.
Fantastic. But I just keep making them. I'll keep watching.
Attaboy, you and me both, Phil. Thanks for the call today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. I had never heard of The Revenant before. But yes, I'm with you on all those movies. Independence Day, Armageddon. What's the one where everything freezes over? The Day After Tomorrow. Like, it just goes on and on. The one with the big tsunami, Téa Leoni, and Morgan Freeman plays the president. Anyway, you know what I mean. The extinction level event. Ellie. Mark, you're on Talkback. Good afternoon.
Hi again, Mike.
Hi again, Mark.
Another great movie nobody has mentioned yet, Mike.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've probably seen it. Deliverance with Burt Reynolds.
Oh, Dueling Banjos has never been the same to me since I saw that movie.
What a crazy movie.
It's incredible. Incredible.
It actually turns your stomach a little bit from some parts in the movie.
You think?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's fantastic,
anyway, Mike,
though. Yes.
That's another great one.
It is indeed a great one. Thanks for that, Mark. Ned Beatty's big screen debut. And what a debut. It's unforgettable. It really is. Deliverance. Fantastic movie if you have not yet seen it. How about The Deer Hunter? Oh, my goodness. Now we're going to go on and on again. Talkback continues on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
We just lost sight of the Queensport light, down the bay before us, and the wind has blown some cold today with just a wee touch of snow. Along the shore from Lazy Head, hard abeam Half Island, tonight we let the anchor go down in Fogarty's Cove.
That is some Stan Rogers and Fogarty's Cove for Curtis. It's an All Request Thursday Canadian Music Edition here on the Mike Farwell Show. Talkback continues. Back to the phones for Terry. Hey, Terry.
Hey, Mike. Paul from Preston this morning, he made some valid points regarding that video game contest. Where's that being held again?
At the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium.
You know what? That reminds me of a story where, back when video games were relatively new, the old arcade games, you put a quarter in. me and some friends were down in Toronto at a strip club. I can't remember. I think it was the Cabaret or one of those, Runway 66. Anyway, it didn't matter. So one of us, not me, but one of the guys that was hanging out, he was addicted to those things. So he's playing Asteroids or Space, and I can't remember. I think it was Space Invaders, and all the acting's on stage, and he's got his ass towards the stage. So he wasn't even watching. He didn't care about the entertainment. He was more enthralled with the video game. So I can see that being an addiction. How about this, Mike? How about if we fill the auditorium and have a farting contest? It probably takes a lot more skill to be able to fart on command and play video games, don't you think?
No, I don't.
Well, just a suggestion. I would.
Terry, listen.
You couldn't pay me enough to go watch video games.
I get it, and I made the same point earlier before Paul did, and I don't disagree. But I thought Paul was a little bit overly critical, talking about fat kids, basements, this and that, and similarly to your crude. I get where you're coming from, and I'm happy to have the conversation. I think we could just maybe soften it a little bit.
Yeah, I get it.
That's all I'm saying.
Over the top, just like I am. But I'm just trying to make the point, like, what's next is to get people into an auditorium.
And Terry, I agree with both you and Paul on that front. I find it, like, I'm happy that our region is the region that's hosting it, because I think that's good for us. But yeah, this is a very bizarre concept to me.
Definitely, Mike. But I was just I know I exaggerate a little bit there, but apologies if
No, it's fine. I think we would probably have a more meaningful conversation, or maybe make some headway into, like, is this okay if we weren't so crude about it? Like, legitimately, because you used the word addiction before, which it actually is. Video games can be an addiction, right?
Yeah, I didn't drive over to Toronto to watch a guy play Asteroids.
Well,
I wanted to watch the entertainment on stage.
I get you.
I'm just making a comparison. Anyway, Mike, have yourself a good long weekend, and we'll catch you again.
Look forward to it, Terry. Thanks very much for the call today. Andrew, you're next on Talkback. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to talk about those speed cameras for a second.
By all means.
My wife got a ticket a couple of years ago doing like 48 and a 30, and it cost like $49. 2 in 7 days, doing 50 in a 30 at 6:15.
And we lost you, Andrew. Listen, I'm going to just say this again, okay? I heard the first one, 48 and a 30, and I recognize that is 18 over the limit. Kyle's call before was 52 in a 40. Again, I acknowledge 12 over the limit. I'm here to tell you, those are not the speeders you're looking for, okay? You're looking for the jackwagon on the 401 that was doing 193. You're looking for the other jackwagons that drive the Ira Needles embarrassment out here where I work and are doing 80, 90, and beyond when the limit's 60. Those are the speeders you're looking for. You got to lay off the ding-dang drivers that are doing 12 over when their top speed is 52. That's not the speeder you're looking for. It's this madness, what we're doing with these cameras. I'm off my soapbox. Mike, good afternoon.
Hey, Paul and Terry can learn that not every thought that comes into your brain has to be spoken out loud on the radio.
Listen, I agree with the premise. I do think the whole idea of watching video games is a little bit odd, and I worry that we might be, you put up a $2 million prize, but you're being rewarded for sitting on your derriere. I don't know about that part, but yes, I think we could.
I'm just talking about the filtered language.
I get you.
So,
yes.
You were talking about movies, rewatching. One of my old favorite ones is a movie called Sneakers with Sidney Poitier and Robert Redford.
I love it. I just was looking for a movie last night, and it popped up, and I thought, should I watch it again? Yeah, good one.
Not to rewatch, absolutely. It's like old, but I can rewatch it every year or two, no problem. It's really good.
I will have to make a note because I almost stopped on it last night, so I'll take it under advisement. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Good to hear from you. Again, and listen, I don't really mind if they didn't go over a line, Terry or Paul, in terms of a crude comparison or some strong language. I think if we want to actually get somewhere and have a meaningful dialogue, then we could just soften the position a little bit. The three of us agree, Terry, Paul, and I. And I'll just say again, I get it. And one of our younger employees came in here earlier today and said to me, I heard you riffing on the the Call of Duty tournament? I said, I was. And he said, $2 million prize. Yeah, but it's a prize that you get for sitting on your derriere playing a video game. And I'm not sure that's the behavior. Much like the person driving 52 is not the speeder you're looking for, I'm not sure the video gamer is the athlete you're looking for. And I use that term very loosely. You know what I'm getting at? I don't know that we want to reward that. By all means, have gaming as a hobby. But anyway, I'm getting hot in here, hot in her. Talkback continues. It's the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Is he, like, that's not singing, is it? I can hear the auto-tune, Biebs. Come on. I guess that's Justin Bieber and The Power for Andre on this All Request Thursday Canadian Music Edition. Just real quick, I want to share, going back to what we were talking about and the rewards for playing video games. A friend of mine used to play in the Ontario Hockey League. Now he's a personal trainer. And he shared this on his social media the other day, and it really struck me because I struggle. I always complain I'm too busy to, get in any exercise. I'm supposed to be doing 30 minutes a day, like we're all supposed to be doing, 150 minutes a week. Anyway, he broke it down this way. There are 168 hours in the week, of which we sleep 56, right? Or 64. Yeah, 7. He had it down to 7 hours a night. So you sleep 56. You work 45. You do errands for 14. 8 hours a night times 7 is 56. So you sleep 8 hours a night. You work 45 hours a week. So 56 hours sleeping, 45 hours working, 14 hours a week doing errands and such. That's 2 hours a day. Seems reasonable. And there are still 53 hours left over. If you're not getting a workout in, even for an hour to 2 a day, if you have 53 extra hours a week, it's not a question of time, it's a question of priorities. And so if a lot of those 53 hours are taken up sitting in front of a screen, I would just say the same thing. And listen, I'm not getting in my hour or two every day for exercising, but it's not because I'm sitting in front of a TV watching or playing video games. I might be watching too many movies. I don't know. Anyway, I had to get that out. Richard, you're on Talkback. Good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon, Mike. Just a comment about this, the video game situation. People have different interests and different opinions, and I'm certainly glad the world doesn't agree with me on everything I do, nor choose to do everything that I do. But slagging people for sitting down and not being active, I think, is inappropriate. I've never heard anybody make any similar derogatory comments towards the chess masters of this world, who also exercise strategy and genius and brilliance when they play their game. Thanks, Mike.
All right, Richard. You know what? It's a fair point, and I haven't heard that either. Maybe because it takes a little more brain power. I don't know. I'm not a gamer, and this is, I think, what's showing up. Mary, you're going to get the last word, and I don't have much time left.
No. Okay, Empire of the Sun.
Empire of the Sun. I'll watch it.
Yeah, excellent movie. I always cry, and you know what? I like crying sometimes. Makes me feel better.
You like a good cry?
I do. Anyway, listen, I wish you and your beloved a wonderful, wonderful long weekend with fireworks.
Mary.
Go Mike.
Okay, I will. Gosh darn it.
Gosh darn it.
Before Kitchener takes them away from me.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
Bye.
Mary. Bye. Have a great weekend. Larry Fedoruk will be here tomorrow. He'll be here on Monday, entertaining you, informing you, engaging in conversation with you, the way that we've been doing all week long, all month long, all year long so far. I'm going to take some time off, and then I'll be back next Wednesday, the day after Canada Day. Enjoy the days ahead. Looking forward to reconnecting Wednesday morning at 9. My name is Mike Farwell. Bye for now.